From an all-time peak of over 100,000 concurrent players, to struggling to even break 1,000 in the current day. It would baffle anyone how a project with so much promise could take a complete nosedive and in such a short time. The game in question, Realm Royale, was an ambitious take from a developer who had already seen success in the form of their flagship games Smite and Paladins. With so much potential and past success, it wasn't unrealistic to think that this game had the potential to be the next big thing. The reality, however, couldn't be further from the truth. The year was 2017, and the Battle Royale genre was still in its infancy. However, something was brewing in the background, ready to change the genre forever. The likes of H1Z1 and PUBG had set the groundworks for what would become one of the most popular games ever to be released. Rules of Survival. I'm just joking, obviously we're talking about Fortnite. Once Fortnite blew onto the scene, it opened up a whole new avenue for Battle Royale games, and while the likes of PUBG were still popular, Fortnite united the whole nation and taught them a very important thing. How to do some TikTok dances.
Hey, who likes Fortnite?
In all seriousness though, when looking at the success experienced by Fortnite, it's not unrealistic for competitors to garner ideas and shoot for something similar. One such developer was High Res Studios, who at the time had already seen success being the developer of both Smite and Paladins. They believed they could use their Paladins engine to form a Battle Royale mode, which was fittingly named Paladins Realm Royale at the time. They didn't just want to copy Fortnite though, so they looked for things to differentiate themselves from other Battle Royales. They settled on the idea of adding classes, where each class had its own unique attributes and weapons, as well as things like the Forge, which was used to craft both epic and legendary weapons, items, and even abilities. Initially, these features did enough to intrigue players, and this coupled with many big streamers at the time, such as Ninja and Shroud.
Please! Oh my god!
Trying their hands at the game, allowed Realm Royale to have one of the most successful launches seen in gaming, with its highest peak of players all culminating during its release month back in June 2018. With such a prominent launch, and with reviews at the time praising its unique take on the Battle Royale format, it was only a matter of time before Realm Royale would become one of the biggest games to date. Wait, what's happening? That's right, just 1 month after its stellar launch, Realm Royale had already lost up to 72% of its peak player base. Now understandably, this may have been due to people just checking the game out because of the popular marketing with streamers before deciding, you know what, the game isn't for me. But if we look at the following months, we find that similar decreases was also seen in August and then September, which at that point in time had already seen 97 decrease in the player base. Why was this the case though? What was happening that was causing so many players to ditch the game in such a short period of time? One of the biggest problems Realm Royale faced was the dissonance between what the community wanted and enjoyed about the game and what the developers decided to do in their future updates. One of the biggest appeals for Realm Royale in its infancy was how it differentiated itself from games like Fortnite. The class system in general was unique at the time, and each class felt like it had its own strength and drawbacks, and the unique weapons that came with each class changed things up and made sure that no two games felt the same. The Forge was another welcome feature, allowing players to craft stronger legendary weapons and items to give themselves a one-up on their opposition. This also rewarded good play, as the resources needed in the Forge often required players to be doing well. Sounds pretty fun, right? Well, not even 1 month into its lifetime, the developers decided, well, this is cool and all, but let's just remove these cool features and become pretty much a beta version of Fortnite. Within the same month of its release, Hi-Rez would push out a controversial patch which essentially removed the main purpose of the Forge, now allowing the unique class legendary weapons to drop from chests and weapon chests. This change was quickly reverted due to backlash, giving players hope that they were a community worth listening to. This didn't last long, however, when in a now infamous update, the decision to add hit-scan weapons that any class could use was made. These weapons on release were so powerful and so broken that many players wanted them to be removed entirely. It took all the unique aspects with class-specific weapons and made them pretty much obsolete. It pretty much meant that if your opponent had a hit-scan weapon and you didn't, you'd be back in the lobby soon enough. Alright, so not the best decision, but at least we still have unique classes to play around with, right? That's right. For whatever reason, the developers decided not only to change the core fundamentals, but to also remove anything and everything that made their game unique. It was at this point that the large majority of the remaining player base decided to leave. The community was obviously not being taken into consideration, and as a result, the game suffered tremendously. Even after somewhat reverting this change shortly after, it wasn't enough to pad the bleeding that was causing the game to bleed out. By October, it was becoming increasingly harder to even find lobbies for the game, as the play count was so small. To counteract this change, the decision to add bots into the game was made. If you've ever played a game, you know exactly who's a bot and who's not. This further did nothing to change the falling trajectory, and at this point, Realm Royale was most definitely on its last legs. Fast forward to August of 2022, and by this point, the average player base for Realm Royale was at an all-time low. For the few remaining players, further bad news followed, as Hi-Rez announced that Realm Royale would no longer be given large-scale support and updates, with only the promises being that the servers will remain up and minor content and bug updates may follow. Nowadays, Realm Royale has been somewhat revitalized with an update in August of 2022, rebranding into what was called Realm Royale Reforged. And while this update brought back all the old aspects like class system locks and unique class abilities and weapons, it was far too late to bring any of the initial fans back. Realm Royale is an excellent example of what happens when discourse is experienced between the players and developers. No matter how successful the game initially is, that is never enough. The constant updates and promises made to players to allow them to enjoy playing for the long term is key. Realm Royale could have been one of the biggest and most prominent games to this day. Unfortunately, it appears like that day may never come.